How's it going, everybody? Thank you again so much for being here for another great lesson from Big Wave Guitar. I'm your humble instructor, Dan the Guitar Man. Today we're going to be taking a look at the alternative rock anthem Zombie by the Cranberries. Such a simple yet powerful song that is still just as beloved today as it was back in the 90s. I think you'll really enjoy playing it. But before we jump into the lesson, if you could please be so kind as to like this video and subscribe to the channel. That way you guys get to stay up to date on all the great lessons, the tutorials, the videos, and just general guitar knowledge that gets shared here. It would be really greatly appreciated if you could do that. Like I said, thanks again for being here for the lesson, and let's get to the lesson. The first chord we're going to need today is E minor, which we're going to play by putting our first finger on the second fret of the A string, and our second finger on the second fret of the D string, and then letting all 6 strings ring openly and freely. Now for the verses of the song, we're going to use the E5 power chord, which is just the open E string, and your first finger on the second fret of the A string. The next chord we're going to need today is C major. We're going to play that by putting our first finger on the first fret of the B string, our second finger on the second fret of the D, and our third finger reaching up and getting the third fret of the A, and then using our thumb or ring finger to mute that low E and play the bottom 5. And then for the verses, we're going to use the C5 power chord, which we're going to play by putting our first finger on the third fret of the A, and our pinky or our ring finger, whichever is more comfortable for you, on the 5th fret of the D, and just playing those A and D strings. The next chord we'll need today is G major, which we're going to play by putting our second finger on the third fret of the low E, and our first finger on the second fret of the A, and then our third finger is going to reach up and get the third fret of the high E string, and we're going to let all 6 strings ring openly and freely. And for the verse, we're going to play the G5 power chord, which we're going to do by putting our first finger on the third fret of the low E, and then again either your pinky or 4th finger on the 5th fret of the A string, and just play those 2 E and A strings. Last but not least, we're going to need D with F sharp in the bass, which we are going to play by putting our first finger on the second fret of the low E string, our second finger on the second fret of the G string, and then our third or 4th finger, whichever is more comfortable, I like the pinky, on the third fret of the B. And then stack that all together and just mute that high E string. Now we're also in the verses going to need D with F sharp in the bass power chord, which we're going to play by putting our first finger on the second fret of the low E, and then stretching our pinky finger up to that 5th fret of the A string, and just play those low E and A strings. So for the verse of the song, I like to play with power chords so that it kind of takes the dynamics of the song down a little bit and lets the voice kind of shine through a little bit more. So let's take a little run through that chord progression with just the power chords, and we'll play it at a normal speed, and then we'll do it a little slower as always, just so you can kind of get a feel for that. So here we go. Super slow now. for the chorus of the song, I like to use the open chords because it gives it like a bigger kind of expanding and louder feel. It's the sing-along part of the song, so it just kind of makes everything kind of come to life a little bit more. And again, same exact chord progression. We're just using a different kind of chord to keep it fresh, keep it interesting, and keep the listener engaged, all right? So here we go. Regular speed, super slow. Super slow. So there you go. You've got everything you need now to play a beginner's version of Zombie by the Cranberries. It's a really great song. It's only got one chord progression, but you've got two ways to play it, so you can add some dynamics to your rendition. I really do hope you enjoy it. If you could please be so kind as to like the video and subscribe to the channel, it would be greatly appreciated. We'll see you again next time, and be good.